Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Annie, and in this video I will be giving my thoughts on Stephen King's novella The Body, which is the third novella from his 1983 short story collection, Different Seasons. The story is told through the viewpoint of Gordon LaChance, who is an adult telling a story of the time when he was 12 in 1960, growing up in Castle Rock, Maine. Gordon that summer was dealing with a lot of personal issues at home. His older brother Denny had just passed away in a horrible car accident, and Denny was a star athlete, a star student, and his parents' favorite. And his parents made it no secret that Denny was their favorite. So not only is Gordy having to deal with his own grief, but he's having to deal with the aftermath of his brother's death and the impact it had on his family and the way they treat him. And he feels that his parents, and they ignore him and they make him feel invisible. And this is kind of a struggle that Gordy has. And not only that, but he's also kind of dealing with being in his brother's shadow, his perfect brother's shadow. So Gordy, when he was 12, had a group of friends that he'd hang out with a lot, and they'd hang out in this tree house, and it was kind of like a social club, and they would do things like sneak smoking cigarettes, tell dirty jokes, look at like nudie magazines and things that I guess 12-year-old boys did at the time. So all his friends have their own issues at home. His friend Chris, for example, his father is an abusive alcoholic, and he has an older brother named Eyeball, who is a part of Ace Merrill's, I guess, gang of hoodlums. And Ace Merrill is the leader of this gang, which, you know, vandalizes and just does stupid shit. And I guess a lot of people are afraid of Ace and his gang. So his older brother Eyeball is a part of that. And Chris, his family is kind of white trash. That's what the people in Castle Rock say. So people judge him on that based on his family's bad reputation. And Chris really hates that because he wants to be different and viewed differently than his family. He wants to get out of Castle Rock and to prove everyone wrong, to prove that, you know, he is more than his family's bad reputation. He's actually very smart, and he carries himself with a quiet wisdom and maturity, and he's kind of like the quiet, mature friend, kind of like the father figure of the group. Not like a father figure, but he's, you know, like I said, he's got that quiet maturity to him. He's kind of like the quiet leader. So there's Chris Chambers, Vern Tessio, who is described as being short and overweight, and he gets bullied for this. And, you know, for people who don't know him, he comes off soft-spoken and shy, but with his friends, he's the comedian, and he really likes to make his friends laugh. He enjoys that. And then there is Teddy Duchamp, and he's kind of a character. He's the odd one, considered the weird one of the group. He wears thick glasses and a hearing aid, and it kind of makes him look like an old man. Gordy describes his ears as looking like two balls of warm melted wax. And what happened was his life's very hard because when he was 8 years old, he had broken a dish, and his father, who was a vet and suffering from PTSD and alcoholism with fits of rage that he would take out on Teddy. So when Teddy was 8, he broke a plate, and his father flipped out and took him to the wood stove and pressed each side of his head against the burner on the wood stove, the hot wood stove, for 10 seconds each, melting and deforming each of his ears. And as a result, Teddy's ears are all up, and he has to wear a hearing aid for the rest of his life. And as a consequence, his father was sent to the sanitarium. So because Castle Rock's a small town, everybody knows this, and they harass and tease Teddy about this, about his father being in the loony bin. So that's, you know, he has to deal with being bullied by everybody because of his father. But despite the fact that his father did this to him, he will be the first one to defend his father and tell anyone that his father stormed Normandy in World War II and that his father's a hero. Oh yeah, I forgot. Vern Tessio's older brother Billy is also a member of Ace Merrill's gang, like Eyeball, Chris's brother. So Vern and Chris's brothers are both in Ace Merrill's gang, just to clarify that. So anyway, so one day Vern is under his porch looking for a jar of pennies that he hid from himself a while ago that he couldn't find, and he, you know, was hunting for these pennies that he thought he had. And while he was under the porch, he overheard his older brother Billy talking to his friend about a dead body that they had found and what to do. Now, Vern waits until his brother leaves because he doesn't want him to know that he's been eavesdropping on him, because he'll beat him up. So he waits till his brother goes, and he runs as fast as he can to the treehouse from his house and to tell his friends about what he just heard. And he asks them, hey, you guys, do you guys want to find a dead body? And of course they do. And that's kind of where the story begins. So I guess a couple of days or weeks prior to this, there had been news reports about a boy their age from a different town named Ray Brower who had gone missing. So they're figuring it must be him. So they make a plan to lie to their parents, because where this body is supposed to be is about 30 miles away, and they're going to have to walk. So they plan this weekend, and they tell their parents that they're camping out at Vern's backyard. But what they really plan to do is to follow the railroad tracks to where the body is so they can discover it, and maybe they can be in the newspaper and be heroes, and maybe the people in the community or their peers or whatever will view them differently and think of these kids as heroes. So that's their mindset in doing this. So in finding the body of Ray Brower, Gordy and his friends are hoping that the way people view them will be different, and they'll be thought of as heroes instead of like no good thugs that aren't going to amount to anything. They want to prove, I guess, their haters wrong. And along their journey in finding Ray Brower's body, this group of friends has to deal with a crooked store owner that tries to rip them off, a judgmental crooked store owner, a dump manager who's crazy and has a dog that he's trained to sick anybody who trespasses, and the kids, the group of friends there, Gordy and his friends, have to deal with this dog chasing them and this crazy guy trying to sneak through the dump. It's a funny scene. They have to also deal with almost falling off the railroad tracks to their death. They have to deal with a pond or a lake full of leeches. There are a lot of obstacles that they face along the way. The worst thing they have to deal with, though, is Ace Merrill himself. Through the story, each of the characters along the journey learns a little bit about life and a lot about themselves and their place in the world, especially Chris and Gordy. What they feel, what the characters feel in the beginning of the novel changes by the end of the novel, and Gordy learns how to, for example, Gordy learns how to step out of his brother's shadow, and Chris realizes that he doesn't need anybody to dictate who he is or where he's going. And if he works hard and stays out of trouble and does the right thing, that he is going to prove everybody wrong, and he's going to get out of Castle Rock, because everyone just assumes that he's just going to be stuck there for the rest of his life, working in the mills like everyone else. And he's made a decision to not be that person, and he doesn't let anything stand in his way. So those two characters change the most. Vern and Teddy, not so much, but they have their own growth. Maybe not so much as Gordy and Chris, but they have their own growth. But this is like a story of friendship and, you know, childhood nostalgia, and about just about being a kid, I guess. It's hard. I'm having a hard time putting into words, because I'm having a hard time not wanting to just tell all the parts, like the railroad scene or the leeches scene, and because I want you to read it for yourself. This is one of my very favorite King books, and I actually really like the movie too. I saw the movie before I read the book. I saw the movie as a kid. It came out in 1986, and it goes by the title Stand By Me. And it was directed by Rob Reiner and stars the late River Phoenix and Jerry O'Connell. What the heck's his name? Corey Feldman and Wil Wheaton, which maybe some of you don't know who Wil Wheaton is. I think he was in some sci-fi stuff. But, you know, a lot of people know who Corey Feldman is, and have heard of River Phoenix, who was Joaquin Phoenix's older brother, who passed away in 1993, I believe, outside the Viper Room, which was like really, really sad. But it's one of his best book to movie adaptations. And Stephen King himself, I believe, has said several times that Stand By Me is his favorite movie done on one of his books. So that's kind of interesting, and I have to agree, it's a really good movie. So I would suggest read the book, and as soon as you can, watch the movie. It's so good. And I like this story too, because a lot of people ask, what's appropriate for, you know, maybe a kid or a preteen, or however old you feel appropriate to let your kids read certain books. It's up to you. I'm not gonna tell you. There's some Stephen King books that are absolutely very inappropriate, in my opinion. But Stand By Me, I mean, that's the movie. The Body by Stephen King is not one of those. I would definitely recommend it for a kid to read who is interested in reading Stephen King. And definitely, if you're a Stephen King fan, give The Body a try. You will like it. It's light. It's not heavy. It's a kind of a good summer read too, and it's got a good feel-good vibe to it. A lot of emotions, that sadness and, you know, all that, but it does. It has a good feel-good. It's a good feel-good story. So I definitely recommend it. I'm so sorry for this crap review, and I'm just having a hard time getting my thoughts together. I don't know if it's my ADD brain or what, but yeah, this is a pretty shitty review, and it's a really good book, so I apologize. Like I said, I just don't want to like give everything away, and if I start going, I'm going to do that. So you get what you get, and I guess I'm grateful. I only have 14 subscribers, so nobody really gives a shit. So it is what it is. Some of my favorite parts, though, or lines in the book, I'll share real quick, is I really like the story that Gordy tells about the fat kid in the pie eating contests and the Puke-O-Rama or Barf-O-Rama story. Epic and awesome. And that's also in the movie too, so awesome. And I liked the joke, or when they said, I think Gordy tells his friends to shut up, and they say, we don't shut up, we grow up, and when we look at you, we throw up. I thought that was cute and funny. I thought it was a funny line. So I think my very favorite line of the book was when Gordy asks, or says, rather, he says, I had never had any friends later on like the friends I had when I was 12. Jesus, did you? I really like that line, and I could definitely relate to it, because if you think about it, think of the friends you had when you were 12. You know, those are the friendships that, you know, remember forever. And there's just nothing, it just, I don't know, I just really liked it. I thought it was a really good line. So those are my thoughts. And also, I almost forgot, each story, because the name of the book is, in my copy, Different Seasons, each story is related to a season. And where Apt Pupil was the last story I read, that was summer, so the body is fall or autumn, and the subtitle for the body was called Fall from Innocence. So that is that, and those are my jumbled up, not well organized thoughts on Stephen King's The Body, which again I highly, highly recommend you read. And in my next video, I will be giving my thoughts on the last novella from Different Seasons, which is called The Breathing Method. I have no idea when I'm going to put that video out, and I don't really know that anyone cares, so it doesn't really matter. But I'll do my best to get it done so I can get through these books and I can move on to Christine, which I really am looking forward to, even though I read it a long time ago. It's been a while. And thank you for watching and joining me on my adventure as I read through all of Stephen King's novels in publication order. Again, thank you for anybody who watched and took the time to watch my bullshit. I appreciate it. And until next time, I'll see you later.